You're ready.
Finding a balance between athletics and academics can prove to be a very challenging and even daunting task for student athletes to accomplish. Surely the pressure of both having to study, get good grades in school, and also perform well in sports can be extremely challenging and draining on the mental health of student athletes. If you are a parent of student athletes, then you should know firsthand just how busy the schedule of your child is. After all, you most likely are the one having to drive them to and from practices and games. While this might be inconvenient for you, I would like you to consider the following questions. Have you ever considered how these commitments could be slowly burning out and stressing your child? More so, have you ever considered the possibility that you as a parent could be unintentionally making your child feel stressed about the sport that they play? As someone who played soccer for my high school during my senior year, I know firsthand just how stressful being a student athlete can be. I remember one game that I had where I was not playing very well. I had missed several attempts at scoring a goal for my team, and had also had a couple of sloppy turnovers as a result of myself slowly losing confidence in my ability as an athlete. My performance was so bad that one of the assistant coaches on my team yelled at me after I missed a goal for my team. This combined with my already poor performance in this game made me feel incredibly stressed. After the game was over, I went home and could not stop thinking about the entire debacle. My performance in this game led me to believe that I was a liability that did not provide any value to my team. While I also acknowledge that I was too harsh on myself after just one game, I can also understand in hindsight how it was so easy to fall into this train of thought. As a parent, it is important to understand that scenarios like this are extremely common for student athletes to be in. When your child, while your child might not be good at hiding any stress they are feeling from the sports they participate in, this does not mean that the stress is not taking a toll on them and eating away at their mental health. These issues only get worse when they are left alone and not treated, which is why you as a parent need to be able to identify these signs of stress when they pop up. It also means that you need to be able to determine if you are able to help your child with the stress alone or if it would be worth considering getting a sports psychologist or therapist involved. More so, you as a parent need to be able to objectively determine if you might be one of the factors causing your child's stress. You have close access to your child throughout all aspects of life, which means that you are in a great position to help your child in this regard. As a parent of a student athlete, it is crucial for you to consider the potential factors that could be causing your child's stress. In a study conducted by Pulse Scientific, 200 high school athletes who were between the ages of 16 and 17 were asked about the stress that they felt. 91% of all athletes polled in the survey experienced stress as a result of the sports they participate in. However, this stress should not always be looked at as a negative thing for your child, because in the same study, about a third of these student athletes that experienced stress reported that this stress positively affected their athletic performance. However, student athletes tend to be quite poor at recognizing when they need help for any difficulty with their mental health. This is revealed in the same study when only 10% of student athletes surveyed revealed that they attempted to receive help for their mental health. Since it is evident that student athletes experience stress quite commonly, you are probably wondering why that is. What causes them this stress? In this study, 64% of the student athletes claimed that fear of failure caused them stress. 66.5% claimed that pressure that they put on themselves to perform caused them this stress. 45% experienced pressure from the fear of others judging them based off of bad performances in games. However, these are all factors for stress that student athletes essentially place onto themselves. What outside factors might influence their mental well-being as well? Well, this answer is revealed later in the study when 34% of all student athletes polled in the study revealed that they felt pressure as a result of their coaches and the expectations that they placed on them. Similarly, 21.5% cited pressure from parents as being one of the main causes of their stress. This was reflected in the study when 50% of student athletes polled in the survey said that they would not approach their parents or coaches for help with their mental health, but would rather more likely talk to a friend about it first. As a parent, I'm sure that you are wondering why so many kids are hesitant to talk to their parents about something so personal. However, the reasoning for this is rooted in kids tending to imitate whatever their parents do. In a study conducted by Michigan State University assistant professor Jimin Kim, where 290 student athletes were polled, it was revealed that what the student athletes saw their parents doing in regards to mental health was the largest determiner in what they were likely to do themselves. In the study, it was determined that coaches and teammates tended not to influence them at all in this regard. What this essentially means for you as a parent is that if your child sees you are able and open to have hard conversations about mental health, and also foster an environment where it is okay to talk about it, then your child will be more likely to open up about their own struggles with mental health. However, if you choose not to talk about mental health, or even worse, stigmatize talking about mental health or receiving treatment for it, then your child will hold the same stigma with their own mental health. However, if you as a parent have not fostered this environment for your child yet, do not worry, as it is incredibly easy to. In research conducted by Dr. Valerie Val for Johns Hopkins Medicine, she suggests fostering this type of environment by asking open questions to your child about their mental health that are not accusatory, but rather come from a place of compassion or care. As an example, let's say your child has expressed less enthusiasm for going to basketball practice. Rather than just asking, why do you no longer seem to like playing basketball, which comes across as a bit accusatory and can cause your child to shut down, try indicating or introducing the topic in a lighter manner. A better way to rephrase this would be to say to your child, I have seen that you are not as excited to play basketball as you were at the beginning of the season. Is this correct, or am I misinterpreting the situation? This is a much lighter and more casual way to open a conversation about whether or not a sport that your child is playing is causing them any stress. If it is determined that your child is indeed burnt out or tired of playing their sport, then allow them to take a break from it. This can help your child to mentally regroup, in addition to physically recovering from their sport. This also sets a tone for your student athlete to prioritize their own mental health above all else. According to Dr. Val, combining these factors will ultimately allow your child to regain the fun that they had for their sport. Dr. Val also recommends judging how severe the problems that your child is dealing with are. She recommends that for mental health problems spanning over a period of time over 2 weeks, it is best to receive help from a professional in mental health, as they will be aptly suited to help your child come up with methods and practices for dealing with more severe cases of mental health problems. However, you as a parent are probably now wondering, how do I determine if my child is stressed or is dealing with mental health problems? What signs should I look for? Well, in the same research by Dr. Val, signs of depression and stress in student athletes are avoiding or skipping practices or showing signs of dread when going to practice. In day-to-day life, it is usually common for these symptoms to appear as being bored, distracted, or just overall having low energy for daily activities. More severe symptoms, like a sad or gloomy mood lasting over several weeks, differing eating habits from your child, like not eating enough food or consuming too much food, and differing sleeping patterns, should warrant help from a sports psychologist or a mental health professional. Since I have mentioned sports psychologists several times throughout this video, you are probably wondering what it is that a sports psychologist would do to help your child. St. Charles Healthcare, a hospital system located in Oregon, describes several techniques used in sports psychology to help treat athletes. The first method is described as visualization, which involves the athlete imagining different in-game scenarios and then visualizing how they would respond to those scenarios. This not only trains their mind on how to respond to these scenarios, but also helps to improve their motor skills in these in-game scenarios, leading to better athletic performances. St. Charles Healthcare also discusses how it is common for sports psychologists to teach athletes to develop a strict routine that they do before every game. This helps the mind of the athlete to recognize that it needs to focus on the game at hand, which will in turn help the athlete to turn out any outside distractions that will hinder their in-game performance. Simple breathing techniques are also commonly recommended, as it helps to reduce the heart rate and stress level of athletes. An example of a breathing technique is box breathing. This involves breathing in for 4 seconds, holding that breath for 4 seconds, exhaling that breath for 4 seconds, and then holding that breath again for 4 seconds. Lastly, it is important to know how you as a parent could potentially be causing your child stress in the sports that they play. As a parent, it is common to set high expectations and standards for your child's performance in the sport that they play in. According to Dr. Lauren Havel of Baylor's College of Medicine, setting high expectations for your child that are unlikely to be met by them can cause your child to question their own athletic abilities when they fail to meet these standards. This can be compounded if you as a parent get visibly disappointed or frustrated with your child after these performances. If your child believes that you are disappointed in them, this can cause your child to question their own self-worth and value and equate it to their athletic performances. Kids tend to imitate the behavior of their parents, which means that if they see you getting frustrated with their performances, they themselves will be frustrated as well. To avoid causing your child stress in the sports they play through these habits, Dr. Lauren Havel suggests focusing on ensuring first and foremost that your child is having fun with the sport that they are playing. To ensure this, she recommends encouraging your child after every game. To ensure this, she recommends good, bad, whatever, show them positivity. She recommends for parents to cheer for their children as they are playing and to demonstrate good sportsmanship towards the other team, in order to demonstrate to the child that sports are meant to be a fun and exciting experience. If you find yourself starting to get mad during a game that your child is playing in, take a break. Get up from where you are watching the game and go on a short walk, or get a quick snack and allow yourself to regroup. If you are a parent of a student athlete, it is important to recognize the potential challenges that your child might face as a result of sports that they participate in. While I know it can be tempting to believe that your child is likely to open up to you on your own, the research states otherwise, as evidenced by 50% of student athletes surveyed in a study by Pool Scientific saying that they were more likely to approach a friend for help with stress over their parents. This means that it is your responsibility as a parent to ensure that you create an environment with your child in which they feel comfortable talking about any issues with their mental health that they might be experiencing. To determine whether or not you need to approach your child about these issues, it is important to first identify if your child is exhibiting any signs of mental health problems, like a loss of enthusiasm for their sport or differing eating habits. Once you have identified signs that your child might be experiencing stress or burnout in their sport, it is your responsibility as a parent to approach your child to talk about these issues. You should try to resolve these issues with your child by suggesting that they take a break from the sports they play in. But if this does not work, then you should seek the help of a sports psychologist or a mental health expert in order that they can teach your child about methods for dealing with stress in sports, like practicing visualization and positive self-talk before games. Remember that sports are supposed to be fun. You should try to keep up a light energy at all times around your child when they are playing sports in order to help calm and ease their nerves. This will ultimately allow for both you and your child to get better enjoyment of the sport that they participate in. Most importantly, this helps limit the possibility of your child developing stress or mental health problems from the sports that they play in.